Hello and welcome to this series of interviews where we meet members of the farm team at Clinton Devon Estates. I'm Dan Grist, a beef and sheep farmer from mid-Devon, and today I'm talking to Les James, herd manager for Clinton Farms. Les moved down to Devon from Gloucestershire in early 2017 and has 20 years of experience managing herds.
We're very fortunate here on the estate that the estate they farm the way I like to farm. They're very passionate about their organics and the environment, and that suits me. The cows enjoy it. You look at our cows, and when they go out for grass, they're buzzing. It's so nice to see them.
Les James, herd manager for Clinton Devon Estates. Thank you for coming to chat on this incredibly sunny afternoon in July. To start, could you give us a bit of an overview of the dairy operations on the estate?
Okay, well, I'm the herd manager at Otter Dairy for Clinton Devon Estates. There is two primary dairies, mine at Otter and another one at Dorditch. Me at Otter, we have 520 all year round having organic cows, and we milk those twice a day, 4 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the afternoon, roughly producing about 11,000 litres a day.
And you mentioned just a moment ago that you are the herd manager. So what does that job entail?
Basically, I run the dairy on a day-to-day basis. So anything to do with the dairy unit, I'm involved with it. So from literally milking the cows right through to the silage making, I'm involved with that sort of side of it, as in if it's a day-to-day concern, then it's my business to sort it out.
Yeah.
So literally I try and milk at least once a day. So I milk it, generally do the morning milking so that I see all of the cows through the day. And then I use the rest of the day to catch up with the tractor driver who does the feeding, and farm manager Sam Bryant Evans and the young stock managers Alice, just to make sure everything is ticking along quite nicely.
So you're doing the 4 o'clock early milking then? That's a pretty early start.
I get out of bed most mornings about 20 past 3. So I'm on farm at 4. So I get up and make a cup of tea and get myself awake. And fortunate, I live literally 30 seconds away from the edge of the dairy. So it's not a very long commute for me. It sounds worse than what it actually is.
Yeah, I'm sure many people would be very envious of that commute. I know that you only started your position on the estate in 2017, but what do you know about the history of the herd? Are there any bloodlines going back a long way?
There was originally, they were a pedigree Holstein herd, with the view of being a pedigree Holstein herd. But for the farm that we are and the system that we're running, it doesn't really fit with organics. Holsteins are quite demanding as animals. You need to mummy coddle them a little bit and keep them nice and warm and snug. Whereas an organic farm is more natural. We cows are outdoors from probably around February through to October. But a Holstein Friesian breed, wouldn't cope with extremes of weather, so cold and hot. They wouldn't cope very well. So we're actually in the process of building of breeding an animal that will actually fit our system and what we're trying to achieve here, more so than sticking with a Holstein bloodline that goes back generation on generation on generation.
So what is that end goal then with the breeding and the genetics? With the system that you are wanting to achieve, what is that?
We need to breed a cow that's compact and able to look after herself and not create too many problems for us from a health perspective. We don't want infections like mastitis or lameness, and we need very good fertility, but we also want that cow then to be able to graze the grass. We've chose to breed outcross from a Holstein Friesian to a different type of milking cow, to a Norwegian red, and cross back to a British Friesian, the original black and white cows that people can remember from years and years ago. They were the British Friesian types, a little bit more hardy, and you're putting a high cross vigor into them, where you're getting a little bit of the best of both worlds. So you get good milk production from the Holstein blood, but you get good health traits from the cross, so the British Frisian, Norwegian Reds, and the likes of that.
Yeah, I find this so interesting. There's an awful lot of science behind this, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a lot better now. There's a lot more understanding, and the range of bulls and breeds that you can pick are endless. You really, uh, you can pick a breed to suit your needs. We're very fortunate here on the estate. That the estate do they farm the way I like to farm. You know, they're very passionate about their organics and their environment. You know, and that suits me. The cows enjoy it. You look at our cows, and when they go out to grass, they're buzzing. It's so nice to see them. They come in the winter because it's cold and it's wet, and understandably so. But come February and it starts to warm up, they just want that gate open and they want to go outside.
Yeah. So, what kind of technology is being used to monitor the herd? Because there's a lot of talk at the moment about the use of technology in farming, analysing data to get the most out of the herd. Is that an important element of your work, or do you still see the benefit of relying on people going out and monitoring the herd?
It's a little bit of both. The technology has definitely got a place to play. 520 cows. I don't know every cow individually. There's no way I'd be able to remember them all. I struggle with 20 friends, let alone 520 cows. So technology plays a part. You have to rely on data recording and analysts of this data to steer you in the right direction. But with that said, there's also this point where, like I said, I like to milk once a day, every day, that I see all of those cows because you can't get away from that human
Yeah.
contact. You know, that's probably the best part of my job that I enjoy the most is actually the physical side with the cows. But we have a computerized system that does all of the breeding for us. So it maps all of the breeding. It gives us all of our calving patterns, so how many cows we're going to calve each month. From that, we also do it's quite a manual task, a milk sample monthly that gives us our bacteriology and cell count, somatic cell count for mastitis bacteria in each cow. That's done on a monthly basis, as well as other diseases if we choose to look for them, which we don't need to. And we have a data review every 4 months with our vets, just to make sure that we've got an independent person looking over our shoulder, making sure we're doing the right decision. So,
Mm.
you know, technology is massive. I mean, I can remember, I've been milking cows 37 years now. From the days of milking cows by hand, I did a little bit of that when I first started, to now where there's robots on the floor, you know, and uh, somebody doesn't actually physically do the milking. I've never worked on a farm with a robot. I don't know how I'd actually cope with that because, like I said, I do like that initial contact with them. But yeah, technology is playing a bigger and bigger part of what we're doing on a daily basis.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned earlier how you've been working in the dairy industry for 37 years. The number of dairy producers in the UK each year are on the decline, aren't they?
Yeah,
So, where do you see the future of the dairy industry going?
the industry itself has to do a lot of work on advertising itself. We need to promote not just the bad things. It's very easy to be very negative about the industry. Yes, I get up at 3:30 every day, but I get up and see the sunrise every day. I'm very fortunate working here in Devon and for the estate. We're in a beautiful part of the country, and it's phenomenal to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's just breaking daylight. It's lovely. As an industry, we don't focus enough on the good things. It's a lovely career. And it's not the career that a lot of people think it is. There is a lot of technology to it. There is a lot of um, uh, data and computers, and it's very modern thinking. A lot of the progressive dairy farms are right up there with the forefront of most of the research being done all over the country and over the world. But there's not a lot of people out there that know that. My assistant came into the dairy business about 3 years ago from outside. He didn't even know he could get a career in farming because he thought he had to have land. He thought he had to come from a farming background, whereas I was fortunate my whole family's done it all of our lives, but I've worked at it to get where I am now, whereas he's come in and he's come from a totally different background to me, and he's flying and he loves it.
Yeah.
Well, we need to do that, and we have to address it. I think the average age for a dairy farmer is in his mid-60s. Well, if we don't start turning this trend around and quickly, those numbers will carry on dropping for death.
Yeah, and I mean, for those young people starting off in the industry, I know that the Clinton Farms team have several really young members who are just starting their career in farming. What is your advice to them for, to have a long-term career in the industry like yourself?
Knowledge. The more the more you can find out, the better you'll be. You have to be passionate about it. It is a life choice. It is a career, but it's also a life choice. If you're in it and you want to be in it, to me it's the best thing in the world. I've really enjoyed my time. Get as much knowledge as they can, work hard, and follow what they're passionate about. Don't let anybody steer you into one way or another. There's more than one thing out there that you can go at. It was a big step for me. I'd never taken on an organic herd before, so I'm still learning now as I'm going along. But it's a lovely place. It really is. It's a challenge, but it's a very good challenge. Again, I'm, like I said, milking cows 37 years, and I'm still learning.
Yeah, well, I think that is a brilliant note to end on. I won't keep you any longer. Are you on milking duties this afternoon at 2?
No, I'm running around looking at cows and playing around with some feet and bits and pieces today. I've done my milking this morning. I'm fortunate. I can, being the boss, I can pick and choose. So it's nicer to milk in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, you can put your feet up this afternoon then.
A little bit, yeah. I can have a wander around the fields and make sure everything's going right and seeing what's going on with the rest of the stuff. Yeah, so.
Brilliant. Well, Leslie James, herd manager for Clinton Devon Estates, thank you so much for giving up your time.
No problem at all, Daniel. Thank you very much.